Well, we are well into 2026, and if you are like me and many of my clients, you have been running hard for several months and you're ready for a break. You've been getting the work done, you've been executing on the strategy, you've been trying to hit those mid-year milestones, and maybe at this time of year, you're getting ready for all of the end of financial year reporting that has to be completed. Well, at this point, many leaders are in need of a break. A couple days away from the desk to stop, to reset, to breathe, and just get ready to go before they tackle that second half of the year again. You know, with school holidays fast approaching over the next month or so, many of you will have holidays booked and leave scheduled. And I've written before around how you need to have a plan for your holidays to avoid being disappointed when you go back to work. Disappointed by the fact that you didn't achieve what you wanted to on your holidays, that you didn't make the most of it, that you didn't do things or rest enough. You're kind of disappointed that you didn't make the most of that time. And as I think about some of the conversations that I'm having with leaders at this point, yes, there's that conversation about having a plan, but there's another one that I am having more and more with various different leaders. And it's not to be disappointed by how you used your time whilst you were away, but it's more about avoiding the disappointment on your return to work. It's avoiding disappointment about how your people may have used their time while you're at work. You're being disappointed by staff who haven't done what they should be doing, about decisions maybe that haven't been made. Maybe it's about the loss of momentum whilst you're away. And as a result of these things, sometimes you have to have difficult conversations on your return from your holidays. It's not the way that you want to start. You know, if you've been listening to me speak, you've been reading some of my writings, or if you've worked with me over the past 12 months, you would have heard me say many times that leadership occurs through 1,000 conversations. See, conversations are the primary mechanism by which we as leaders influence our people. Now, the second part to that statement is that early conversations lay the foundation for future conversations. See, the conversations that you have with your people, they never occur in isolation. They always occur within the context of the conversations that you may or may not have already had with your people, and the conversations that you may or may not need to have in the future. I want to ask you this question. Have you ever tried to climb a ladder, like hanging on the bottom rung of the ladder with no footholds and just trying to climb the ladder like that? It's incredibly difficult because you've got to use all your upper body strength. You can't use your leg muscles, which are actually the biggest muscles in your body. And this can be a bit of a metaphor for difficult conversations. See, difficult conversations, well, they occur and are required when staff haven't performed in some way. Now, too often, that's because there's been some sort of difference in expectation. Maybe there's incorrect assumptions that have been made or commitments to specific actions and timelines that weren't explicitly given. Now, in these scenarios, lack of clarity and alignment, it becomes easy for individuals on your team to say, well, I didn't know, or I thought that, I'm still working on, right? Best of intent and still kind of there, but not quite hitting the mark. And when you try and hold someone accountable for something that they didn't know or that they weren't clear on, well, it highlights the potential of a leadership failure. And that's what makes these conversations so difficult, right? Recognizing that you could have provided more clarity or could have done more to set your people up for a win whilst you're trying to address their performance. That can be like realizing that you have no footholds when trying to climb the ladder. See, early conversations that clarify expectations, gain alignment, and elicit specific commitments, well, they lay the foundation that provides the footholds for you to climb. So if we go back to where we started around holidays, how do we use this concept to set our people up for a win whilst you are away? Before they take leave, most managers will have a conversation with their team about what they're going to be working on whilst they're away. And that's good and that's necessary. However, I find that it's almost always too generic. There are few specifics discussed, meaning few opportunities to hold people and individuals truly accountable. You don't necessarily need to have a different conversation, but there's a small tweak that you can make that will not only give clarity and alignment in much greater proportions, but they'll shape people's mindsets for the way that they approach their work in your absence. And that tweak is one simple question. And that question is, what do you think I expect when I return? See, the power of this question, what do you think I expect when I return? It stimulates future back thinking. In this context, when we discuss work, so often people have a present forward perspective. They're thinking about the next steps in a particular trajectory. Now, the danger of this type of thinking, right, is that as long as they keep moving along that trajectory, well, that's success. They've made progress, right? For many employees, making progress is a win. And by focusing your people, though, on the expectations of a future date, by asking that question, what do I expect when I return? In this case, you return, it's instead of progress, you have framed people's mindsets around a specific outcome at a specific time and date. So immediately they have to now think about, how do I approach my work in order to achieve that end state and that time frame? It's a different mindset. It's not just follow the bouncing ball, move forward, and we see how far we get. It's around, okay, I need to be here. How do I approach things differently in order to get there? See, in this case, success is no longer simple progress. It is a specific result and outcome. This question alone will improve your pre-holiday conversations. And you can take it one step further, though, but you can consider, what are the other variations that you might use it with, right? You might ask about, what are the roadblocks or challenges that you might encounter? What are the decisions that need to be made? Who else might you need to help in my absence? And in each of these types of scenarios, you might go, well, what do you think I expect in relation to that? What do you think I might expect when you face a challenge? What do you think you might expect when you need to make a decision? With each of these, you can ask it, and you think you're getting people to explicitly discuss, explore, and set the expectations around how the work gets done, not just what work gets done. See, too often leaders head into their holidays expecting one thing from their teams, only to get something drastically different. You may have a really capable team, but they aren't mind readers. They can't meet your expectations if they don't know what they are. So great leaders, well, they are people that set people up for success in their absence. Early conversations garner the clarity, the commitment, the alignment that lay the foundation for that success. They may not avoid return to work disappointment entirely, but these conversations can reduce it. You may still have to have some hard conversations when you get back. So often, though, those conversations will be easier. So prior to your holidays, if they're coming up soon, I encourage you to have that question, or ask that question, have that conversation. What is it I expect when I return? Till next time, lead well.